Hello and welcome back to The Road to Doomsday, the MCU Rewatch podcast brought to you by the Nerd Academy Podcast. I am your host, Jared Bachman Stubbs, and joining me, as always, is the lovely Miss Taylor.
Hello.
And we are here a couple movies in to Phase 3 at last with a favorite of mine, one that is near and dear to my heart, Doctor Strange, directed by Scott Derrickson. This is one of those superhero movies that I was like, they'll never actually make this guy, right? They'll never be able to actually put this on the screen. And they did it. That's what we get for doubting. But we are not alone. We are joined by a dear friend of the show, frequent RPG co-star, current at time of recording Epic Confrontation singles champion of the world, co-host of Anytime with Ken and Alden. It is the one and only Alden Diaz.
There's such a dismissive doubter's tone coming from my, I know we're going to probably be mirrored, but from over here. But, Taylor, on the other hand, I feel greets with fairness, but it is still very nice to be here. Excited to talk about, a lot of Marvel movies in general, but this one in particular, I have affinity for. I think that, I'm sure we'll do table setting and talk a little bit about our relationship with him, but I think he's slept on even now. Even two solo films and multiple Avengers appearances and a starring in a Spider-Man film. I still we should be out here. I should be playing a Doctor Strange game. There should be more kids dressed up as Doctor Strange. I don't understand what's going on.
I love a Doctor Strange video game.
I think about it every day.
Oh my god, that would be so fun. And I will say, just in the name of fairness, no kayfabe at all. The only reason I say for now is because by the time this is out to the public, the title match will have happened, and the belt may have changed hands. We don't know.
Remained the same. Nope. No. Leave this in. No need for edits. Leave it in.
I can't wait till this comes out after the match because it's going to be funny either way. It's hilarious. Fuck you. No.
Leave it in. It's funny.
It's funny either way.
But yeah, Doctor Strange.
But before we
common misconception, sorry, just for the casuals out there. Spider-Man. Doctor Strange. Not Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. It's not the ASL love. It's got to be more like a wrestling too sweet, like a llama.
Too sweet.
It is. It's a too sweet. Anyway, yes, Doctor Strange.
Doctor
a lifetime
Strange.
Ago at this point.
Truly. But before we jump into the meat and potatoes, Sunday's Bloody Mary, the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the multiverse with their 3-time award-winning spicy mix, as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice ain't for you. This former bartender trusts only one Bloody Mary mix, and that is Sunday's, the only mix better than a front-scratch Bloody Mary. Use the link in the description down below, or use the code TNAP, TNAP at checkout to get 10% off your order and help out your favorite nerds while you do it. Folks, are we ready for a little Doctor Strange trivia?
Sure are.
I hope. Probably not, but I hope.
We will continue the hometown advantage rules we've been doing, where I will throw to Taylor first.
I almost know nothing ever.
You've been on a roll lately. What DC actor was a frontrunner for the role of Stephen Strange?
Oh, isn't this the opposite of the other one we did before?
Kind of.
No, it's not Patrick Wilson. That was from earlier today.
Yeah. This is hilariously very
could have
similar.
Been 6.
Could have been.
Taylor?
I don't remember.
I buzz.
Huh?
I can go?
Yeah.
It's Joaquin Phoenix.
It is Joaquin Phoenix. Hilariously, we'll talk a little bit about the revolving door that was the Doctor Strange role for a minute. But Joaquin Phoenix was signed, and then basically had a little method actor moment, and was like, I just feel like as an artist, franchise movies won't really do what I feel I need to do. And then he went ahead and made 2 Joker movies.
I think I mean, we're characterizing it with some sass. I think he, from what we've gathered, was just like kind of like he had cold feet about a marriage. He was like, I don't. He panicked. I think if they had said you could do one of these and never do it again, he would have been there. But
Oh,
I think he
100%.
panicked about the decades long commitment, decade plus at this point for many people.
You're right. And I agree. I'm only being snarky because I want to throw some shade at the Joker movies.
Oh, deserved. But yeah. Deserved.
Second question. What year did Feel So Good by Chuck Mangione chart?
Oh, that's a
78.
great.
1978, you're correct.
Because it came out
Okay,
in 77. That was the
I
point
thought
of
she was
that
right, and I was like,
Yeah.
why is he not saying anything? It's funny because I was standing in the kitchen making this very cup of coffee beforehand, and I knew that there was trivia. I didn't know if it was at the beginning or the end, and I was like, I guarantee you he's gonna ask either what's the technicality that Steven wins the question on, or what is the year. So I did look. That's a great question. I have thoughts, by the way. When we talk about the movie, I have thoughts about Stephen Strange music buff as a character trait.
I agree. No, I was funny because I knew I wanted to do a question. I had a Feel So Good by Chuck Mangione question like percolating in my brain. At first, I was going to ask what is the song by Chuck Mangione, but then but watching the movie just like moments ago when he hits that like no, it charted in 78, but it came out in 77. I was like, that's the question. When did it chart? What horror icon was at one point planning to direct a Doctor Strange movie? Taylor?
It's not Sam Raimi because technically he does, but
Not yet, Raimi.
Yeah, it's not. So you're saying pre Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah,
Someone wanted to do a Doctor Strange movie.
an iconic horror filmmaker wanted to take a crack
M.
at
Night
Doctor Strange.
Shyamalan.
If it's
I
not Shyamalan,
fucking wish.
I have a guess. If it's not Shyamalan,
Who's your guess?
my guess is Wes Craven.
I also was thinking Wes Craven.
It is Wes Craven.
Yes. Well, I figured because New Nightmare is like so all about that meta, dream horror that franchise moved into gradually.
Yeah.
Because it's like early Nightmare is just like, oh, it's a slasher and he's like kind of a boogeyman. But then like later Nightmare is just like, what if this movie was a movie and it was also your dream? Like it's so obviously a Doctor Strange like Steve Ditko-y head trip.
Yeah.
That it would have been awesome to see.
This was one last one that's really fun. What date does Stephen Strange crash his car on, foreshadowing his battle with Dormammu?
Whatever day that was, I don't know.
It foreshadows his battle with Dora. Oh, the date's a palindrome, right?
You're right that it's a palindrome. Not only are you right that it's a palindrome,
that's sick.
I'm jogging my own memory because I remember when you said it foreshadows the Dormammu battle. I remember from when the movie came out discussions of like, oh, the broken watch and the date of the crash is how you know that they're gonna do a loop. But I can't remember. Is it like 1, 2? Is it no? Is it just 11-11? Or no? It's an actual palindrome.
it's 2-2. It's Groundhog Day.
It's 2-2. Yeah.
Also, my Nana's birthday. Funny enough.
Shout out.
Happy birthday, Nana.
Shouts out Nana. But jumping into the background here, as yet oh my god, that is strong there. As yet another cult favorite Marvel hero, Doctor Strange was passed around Hollywood with ideas abound on how to bring the Sorcerer Supreme to life. With everyone from Wes Craven, David S. Goyer, and Guillermo del Toro having touched a Strange movie at one point or another. God, I want to go to the alternate reality where that happened.
Yeah.
Announced officially in 2014 with Insidious director Scott Derrickson attached, he was brought into the helm to direct the picture with his creative partner C. Robert Cargill to help on writing. The role of Stephen Strange had a litany of contenders, with Sherlock star Benedict Cumberbatch being both a fan and studio favorite. Despite being so highly sought after, Cumberbatch was unable due to prior stage commitments, but due to Joaquin Phoenix exiting the role and production delays, the timetable became workable. I was also reading and research the insane amount of other people who were Marvel was considering. The kind of trick answer to the first trivia question was that Jared Leto was also considered. So
Do you have
two
do you have a
Jokers.
favorite? Do you have a favorite of the other people that they floated?
Ewan McGregor, just because that would have been
I was
fucking
about
cool
to,
as shit.
yeah, Ewan McGregor, because he's such like a. How is he not outside of Black Mask?
Yeah.
Loosely, I know he is Black Mask, but like it just feels like such a. This could have been any gangster, and then they found the mask on set type take.
Yeah.
But like it's just amazing that he doesn't have. Like it feels like his name has come up for fucking everything.
Yeah.
Like for Strange, for Pym, or when we thought it was when they were early Edgar Wright Ant-Man days, when it was Reed, but both times that they've done Reed, and they
Yeah.
rebooted in 15 before they cast Miles. I remember them talking about it then. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
was thinking the same thing.
there's
It's
plenty
crazy.
of roles to go. So
Yeah, it is insane. We haven't gotten Ewan McGregor in like a kind of more hard and fast um, comic book role, but he's probably my favorite of that list. It was like Ethan Hawke. I know was another contender for a hot minute, which I would have been interested in. Like I couldn't. It's funny because I couldn't imagine Ethan Hawke as Doctor Strange. Like I couldn't see it in my mind's eye. Funny enough, until I watched this movie for the first time, and you get the scene where Steven shaves the beard down to the goatee. And I was like, "Oh, I can see Ethan Hawke's face like that." Like that was
yes,
the
and
moment it kind
also
of
like
clicked for me.
the only other reason why I can understand not going Ethan is that you're not going to get the years out of him because
Yeah, that was exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
he's already 55 now, and so it's like by the time Secret Wars, you got a guy who's heading towards 60, which like so is Downey, but like it's different because we already had his run.
Yeah.
To start a new one, like he doesn't look like a peer with the other
Yeah.
Avengers. Now that could have been the angle. You could have just been
Yeah.
older, but like that's not how franchise movies work. They always want to cast them. We want to cast you here, that way we can have you for X amount of years.
Yeah.
But then we got him in the MCU as the Moon Knight villain, and he's good. He's really good
Yeah.
in it. But he's another one where I hope that James Gunn scoops him up for
Yeah.
something.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, you know who Ethan Hawke should be? Ethan. Fuck. Why am I even like beating around the bush? Ethan Hawke should be the question. That's who Ethan Hawke should be.
Oh.
That would be the greatest. Writing that down.
Write that down. Please write that down. For when this ends up on the main feed, like weeks from now, if this gets announced, this was recorded on December 8th, 9:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Cut the check.
Heard it here first.
Heard it here first. But the last little bit here, Doctor Strange had a budget of $165 million and made $677 million globally. But
Call that a success.
I would too. So, Alden, I will throw to you, my friend. Where were you? What was going on in the life of a younger Alden Diaz when Doctor Strange came out?
I was happy, which is is a far cry from now. Recording this the evening before my 30th birthday, and life is completely different than it was at this point in the back half of 2016. Completely different world. I hadn't finished my school program yet, and so I hadn't gotten my first broadcasting job yet. I was still working in Trader Joe's, hanging out after work, smoking, eating cheese fries. Like this was a complete like hanging out in South Florida, just goofing off period of time. Still working towards stuff. I was still doing like stuff like this. I was podcasting since I was a kid, but it was a completely different time. And so I had a lot more bandwidth and energy to be excited about these things. And so I had really wanted a Doctor Strange film. I think a lot of us had. Like you, I never thought we would ever get one until you start to be a nerd on the internet and you start to learn a little bit more about who this Kevin Feige person is. It was kind of like when he sort of crystallized as like a Walt Disney type figure for movies now. And you started to learn like, oh, he's one of Kevin Feige's favorite characters. That means that the chances are much higher that will get him one day. And then they name drop him in Winter Soldier. And when they name drop Doctor Strange and Winter Soldier, I remember like physically reacting in the theater, like, of course, the only one there that's doing it in Pembroke Pines, Florida. But it was one of those things of like, oh, they're thinking about him, and immediately they're emphasizing his intelligence, because the Hydra algorithm wants to take him out because he's a genius of medical science, not because he's a wizard at this point, a sorcerer, a magician. He's none of those things at this point. So you could tell he was front of mind. I was very, very locked into the casting. I had many thoughts, all of them obviously wrong. I liked Benedict, but I just didn't, I wasn't fully invested. I think at the time I was thinking like they should get like Viggo Mortensen or like
Fun.
Matt Smith if they did something younger, because we just got to pick Matt Smith for everything. And then they picked Benedict. I loved it. And I was just so excited for the film. I saw it with my friend Gabe. We saw it at the Cinemark Paradise 24 in Davie, Florida. We got tickets really late, so we were in like row C, like right in the middle, probably like seats like 10 and 11. And we were just locked in. And I think it's a rock solid, underrated, perfectly hits all the marks origin picture. In the same way, I think the MCU has a few of those. In the same way that I think Thor is, for the most part. None of these are perfect, and and obviously that's all subjective. But I personally wouldn't put any of them as like, but you know what I mean, like rock solid, dependable, rewatchable as hell.
Yes,
does everything it needs to do. It's Thor, it's Ant-Man. These films just hit all the marks. And Strange, I think Derrickson, we'll talk a lot about him, especially, if I come back for Multiverse of Madness, I'm sure I will. It's sort of it makes this look really thankless, because it's like even the Russo brothers, when they get their hands on Strange with that Strange versus Thanos fight, they get to really show off. And he's leveled up, and he has all like Taika got to play him for comedy with like getting rid of Loki and the T
falling
and the
for 30
disappearing.
minutes.
Falling, and like the way he always moves behind Thor, like we got to see his evolution. The Russos make him this larger than life, all the clones and the effects against the Infinity Gauntlet, and then Raimi gets to go crazy. And Derrickson, because he only did the one and it didn't work out, he left the second film. He's kind of stuck here in a way where you go back to it, maybe it's not as exciting, but like it covers a lot of ground.
Oh yeah,
really, really elegantly and economically, and it's not easy. And yes, this is a beginner Steven who's kind of doing light whip shit for a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But damn it, that was not an easy sell at this moment.
No.
It wasn't.
And
Guardians is the one that like
come back to
broke
that
through,
too.
obviously. Guardians gets the credit, right? But this was hard too, because it's like this had to more than Thor. Thor split the diff with like, this is still sci-fi,
science and
it's
magic,
still space opera. Yes. This was like, okay, what if we didn't split the diff? And even then, they still try to have the Ancient One do that. I don't like that scene personally. I think it's dumbing it down for the audience too much. Where it's like, think of it like whatever what did she say, code or like whatever. Like,
oh yeah, the computer comparison. Yeah,
the computer comparison. I'm like, get out of it.
Yeah,
but yeah, the source code. But yeah, thankless movie and underappreciated.
I want to come back to like Stephen being a Padawan in this later. I want to come back to that. Taylor, what was going on in your world with this one?
Totally nothing bad. My dad definitely didn't just die. And this was the first Marvel movie that came out following his passing, and I remember distinctly because I wanted to go see it, but my mom didn't want to go see it. So we went to the movie theater and we went to go see a different movie, and then she was like, "Come on, we'll just go sneak in to go see the other one you want to go see." And I was like, oh, "We can't do that. We have to pay for tickets. So we have to improve the box office." And she was like, "No, shut the fuck up. Let's go."
What was the movie you were originally seeing? Do you remember?
Do not remember.
Okay.
Do not recall. And we went to go see Doctor Strange, and I loved it. She enjoyed it. But yeah, this was the first movie that, so because Marvel was always something that I had done with my dad, the first one that it was not. So it was definitely different. But I still love the movie.
Mhm.
I thought it was a great film. I thought it was fun. I thought it was good. I thought it did everything it needed to do to get you invested into a character and understand what you need to know about a character moving forward.
Hell
Mhm.
yeah. For me, like I said, this
Yeah,
holds a
what were
very
you
special.
doing?
Well, my senior year of high school,
Jesus.
and
Well, not at this point though, right?
yeah,
Because oh, so you're class of 17?
class of 2017.
Oh,
I was in college.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I graduated May of 2017. I can say I would make a disclaimer. In the name of fairness, I did go looking and I could not find it. This was the second movie review I ever did. Was Doctor Strange. Because my senior year I was in broadcast too,
Mm,
and I was
nerd,
always on the morning announcements. And
nerd.
there was a movie review segment that they did every couple months. It was like once a month that had
Mhm,
been kind of passed down through like senior classes, called Take Two Movie Review for WCAT TV.
mm.
And it was during my tenure that I got to review Sully, which was my first ever movie review starring Tom Hanks.
I remember that coming out. I was working at Victoria's Secret because I kept using the look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now.
No,
The
no,
girls in
that's
the
Captain
fitting room.
Phillips. That's Captain Phillips. Sully
Oh
is the one
shit.
where he plays the guy who lands the plane on the Hudson
Not a
River.
Okay.
ship captain, a plane
A
captain.
plane captain. There was
Damn
Sully,
And a different disaster.
it.
but I remember I don't remember anything I did in the back half of the school year, but I remember the like the first semester was Sully, Doctor Strange, and Rogue One.
I remember Rogue One coming out.
Rogue buns.
I got to review Rogue Buns in high school.
That I also remember that because I had tried to show my dad Star Wars and he was like, I'm not happy with how they're treating Princess Leia, so we're turning this off.
Well,
But yeah, so this is like the second movie I ever like did a movie review of. I'm sure my opinion is half fucking baked because I was 18. Um but yeah, I loved this when it came out. Like we were saying earlier, I was like, there's no way we ever get a Doctor Strange movie. I saw this at least twice because I know I saw it opening night. I believe I saw it opening night with my brother and my dad, and it wasn't until they got to Kathmandu that they turned the lights off in
oh,
the theater,
interesting. Yeah.
and my dad had to keep leaving to go talk to the people at the front and be like, "Can you please turn the lights off in this movie?"
Yeah, Ethan would not have been
Um,
having that. I
uh,
know one thing about that man, he was out there he was out there talking to them.
my dad also worked at that movie theater at one point, so he knew the guy who ran it. So he was like, "Come on, man!" Like it was a very funny conversation. And then I saw it again with shout out Ryan Sabota, my co-host over on Take Two Movie Review for WCAT TV. Um, but yeah, this was a special moment. You know, the hype of knowing Infinity War is coming. You know, and we're kind of finally starting to see things kind of come into focus as to what this conflict may look like.
Mhm.
And it just felt so surreal. Like so many big things were happening. You know, I'm in my senior year. You know, like all like you know like things in pop culture feel surreal. Star Wars is back. Yeah, that's surreal. The MCU is building towards what feels like its
And also,
first
like
true comic event movie.
in Marvel itself, though, it felt like that year an era had ended because the Avengers broke up.
Hmm.
Like that's not the
Yeah,
end of a phase, but Civil War was such a moment where when
I
that movie
really
came out, it
liked.
really did feel like whoa, like Doctor Strange is that next like okay, we're back on the treadmill. Okay, like now we have a new hero after all the heroes that we loved just fucked everything up and ruined all their friendships. Here's an adult. Here's an adult.
except for Hawkeye. Clint was the only one who was there and he was like, look, we're all gonna be cool after this. It's gonna be fine.
That's true.
What astounds me about that is like, or not astounds me, but what's like really poignant that I love is I remember Kevin Feige saying that each Phase's Captain America movie was like the tone setter, regardless of where it came out in the timeline.
Mhm.
That like first Avenger was the like this is an age of heroes, and Winter Soldier was this is our dark moment where the heroes are truly accepting the cost of heroism. And phase 3 beginning with Captain America Civil War was the beginning of that like and shit is kind of fucked. Shit's fucked, y'all. Buckle up. Um but yeah, jumping into the movie itself. I want to circle back immediately to the conversation about Strange's power set here.
Mhm.
Because I do really love that. And you're right. Like Scott Derrickson is like kind of burdened with having to deal with like trainee Steven. Um
Which
where I
everybody is, right? Like if you're directing the first of
Mhm.
most characters, you unfortunately this happened to Peyton Reed too, because Peyton Reed does Ant-Man, and then his plan for the sequel was to introduce the idea of Scott going giant, and then the
yeah.
Russos took that too,
They were like,
and they
"Fuck that!
took
No,
it,
we
and
got
so
it."
and then they almost introduced Wasp, and he was like, "I'm drawing a line." He's like, "You
Yeah.
cannot do Giant Man and Wasp." Like it's such a like imagine if Jared, if they were like, you can do your own iteration of Spider-Man, cast a new kid, do everything, but you have to do the powers origin. That's like 45 minutes of movie of like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sticky. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And
God.
I'm like, and knowing me, I'm like, okay, how quickly can I get to Ben Riley? I'm like, no, fuck y'all. I'm
Yeah.
doing the like, I like,
But you
I'm
want to make a
hi,
Spider-Man
I'm
movie, you
doing
want to
the
have him making like web backpacks and the bombs and webbing up in the
yeah.
wings
I'm
and you just
adapting. I want
can't.
to adapt the Insomniac games, and they're telling me
Yes. And
like,
that honestly, like to tie into something we said at the beginning of like how much we'd want a Doctor Strange game. That's why I understand probably why it's low priority for them. Like
yeah,
Insomniac clearly has them on the mind because they put Wong in the second game and like that portal mission. Like clearly
yeah,
they've thought about the physics of it. But I just it's a character where it's like if you give me that guy, um, I'm gonna always feel limited by the game. My
yeah,
imagination will always
Yeah.
exceed what I can do, unless you're letting Larian make it. But then that's not
It's
then
just not viable.
it's not what they do. Yeah, it's not what they don't do IP like that. So it's like you'll always feel somewhat like it's kind of like how Jedi Survivor is the most we've ever scratched the Jedi itch, but it's still not perfect.
yeah,
Um, it'll never be a Doctor Strange game. You would be like, oh, can I just portal over there? And then the game would have to come up with some fucking bullshit ass plot reason why
You're
you
like,
can't.
"No, you can't," because if you do, then you break the plot.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no,
It's the Jedi
the
Survivor issue.
the
You can't just
the
cut this
ring
locked
of
door with your sword.
yeah, sorry, the ring of depowering. You can't.
There's this
Sorry.
special force around
Yeah.
it that
And
they
that's the
didn't
problem with
do.
making this first movie. Is that he
Yeah,
gets to really sink into the first act, which is wonderful. But then that second act training, it's like he can't do anything cooler. It's also a Batman Begins problem. They're very
yeah.
similar in that Batman Begins has the problem of like let's set aside race for a moment because there's also that. But like
There is
like
also
Also, with this
that.
movie, which we'll get to
also with
that.
this movie, yeah, there's also race. But like the point that I'm making about skill is that your protagonist can't do anything cooler yet than the people we know they will soon be better than.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm gonna be the main character, not Mordo. So I'm gonna be better than him by Act 3, but he can't do anything too cool in Act 2 that I can't also
Can't
do,
do
but
it.
I can't show him up yet. The cinematic tension of that is very hard, and it's kind of like how Bruce is better than all those ninjas that are like in this life already because he has to be, but he also has to have enough fuck ups during that it's
Yeah,
viable. It's that's why I think people are abandoning the origin, and I get it.
yeah,
It's easier just to,
Superman, the
yeah.
Batman, Homecoming, fuck it, like
We
just
know
drop me
enough
in.
about these, like we know, well, and the other
Mhm.
thing is that we do, as an audience, know enough about a lot of these
Yes.
people that like regurgitating the same origin story, because it's always going to be the same origin story. That's how an origin story works. It can't, the
Mhm.
more you change it, the less of that character you have.
Mhm.
So like it is easier to skip over it, especially now because we've seen how many of these people, how many of these characters over and over and over and over again.
And that's also the problem of like being the first adaptation, is that you
Yeah.
can't, like, now a Doctor Strange filmmaker, if they were gonna ever do a new version, is free
You have
by
it
this
because
one
we already
existing.
know we're
Mhm.
familiar enough with the character as a large
Now people get it.
audience.
Yeah.
Now people
Yeah,
get it.
you could start the movie out with him having the title Sorcerer Supreme.
Mhm.
Which, like, in the MCU, Stephen Strange is not even the Sorcerer
A
Supreme.
title he still has never achieved. Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I remember people being weird about the whole, like, oh, like, MCU Spider-Man takes like 3 movies to actually become Spider-Man, which, like, there's a version of that is in good faith, and there's a version of that that's just like really like stupid pissant shit. But like Doctor Strange has taken 3 movies, or I'm sorry, has taken 2 solo movies, a handful of movies that he is a supporting character in, and is not the Sorcerer Supreme, and that's kind of wild. Because like any piece of
Plus,
Doctor
and one
Strange,
of those adds 5 in-world years that Wong's reign as Sorcerer Supreme has already been a while.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, where it's Wong,
You know, Wong
which
is Sorcerer Supreme during the entire time that we
of the
didn't
blip.
see.
Yeah. Well, I even said during the audio commentary, I was like, also shouts out to this movie for like doing a lot of legwork to kind of for people who never touched the comics, who know very little, and then like for people who are semi familiar, basically taking the idea of Wong just being Stephen Strange's manservant, taking it into a dark alley and blowing its fucking brains out.
It is.
Because like
It is
this
absolutely a Mount Rushmore. We're doing our own thing. Of all the instances of, yeah, we're doing our own thing. Thanks, Chief. We'll just take the name and some general
yeah,
brushstrokes, and
some
we'll do our thing.
general
It's this
appearance things,
and
bald guy. Yeah.
M'Baku. It's got to be M'Baku. M'Baku's probably number 1. M'Baku is M'Baku is. You don't even want to tell people to Google the comics
No,
of M'Baku.
I don't want
Wong
to
is
talk
definitely
about
number
comic
2.
M'Baku. I don't want to talk about M'Baku pre 2018 ever.
No one does. No one does. But this is an excellent. There is a lot of that in this. There is also some unfortunate, and I don't,
Heart, heart in the
I'm
right
not trying to.
place.
Yeah, I'm not trying to scold. I think there's an unfortunate geopolitical situation that all American movie studios are in that I don't put at the feet of just Kevin, where there's a certain big market, some might say the other biggest, where there are things
Some
that
may
you want to
say.
avoid doing. And there's and you combine that with is it a trope to do is it an Orientalist dated racist trope to do the old Asian guy that can teach you everything? Yes, it is. So in trying to avoid one thing, trying to avoid another thing, wrongly and then rightly, you do your own, and I understand that. But then like you borrowed the aesthetics of the OG, but like so it's like what
It's
I'm
a
building
blender.
to is that
Yeah.
We're talking
why
about the
is the ancient
by the
one?
way, for anybody who doesn't know
Yeah.
what
Oh
we're
yeah.
talking
Sorry, we're
about,
talking
it's
about the
Ancient
ancient
One.
one. I still to this day cannot understand how they almost got out of it. Like it's so close because
It's
there's
so
that line of
fucking funny.
dialogue where like Mordo says that she's Celtic, and I'm like, why is Tilda Swinton not just playing a Celtic? Just put her in fucking a kilt and a robe and a wizard. Fucking like, just if you're already going that far, just make up a fucking wizard and call it the ancient one. Who gives a shit about the? But they it's that they commit to the bald and the robes and
Yeah, well, the other
the
thing with the
Asian
Celtic
aesthetic and
line is,
carbon like
yeah, they mentioned that she's Celtic, which I was like, okay,
Where she makes Taylor
cool,
pointed out like the Celtic knot arena she
cool.
makes to fight
So yeah,
Caecilius.
the final battle between
yeah,
her and Mads
yeah,
Mikkelsen on the floor is a big Celtic like
yes,
knotted circle, which I thought that was neat, and I was like, well, so you did that,
yeah. Why isn't the whole character
but why
in
did
that
you commit the rest of
vibe?
the way?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's such a weird thing, but balanced out. All that to say, the reason I brought it all up now is because it's balanced out, I think, by the astronomical success of Wong.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
a
Yeah.
character that is so embarrassing in its origins, but this is you could tell the Mandarin, this was like refining the concept of what they did with Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, it's just like Wong to like it's again like look at the effect. I mean, Alden, you and I are such diehard Batman fans who are like Batman
Mhm.
89 agnostic for the most part.
Correct.
But like look at so many concepts of Batman that like 89 like drove into people's heads. Same
Wrongly.
thing with the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man with like organic
Yeah.
webbing being a thing people
Yes.
just kind of took for granted.
Yes. I just had this conversation off air yesterday saying that like I have love for the Arrowverse, but I can no longer rest knowing that that is most people's cultural like version of Oliver Queen. I can't rest
Or
anymore. Like
Deathstroke.
I'm gonna
Or
I'm gonna be
fucking Deathstroke.
don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on Laurel Lance. But like I'm gonna be in James Gunn's walls whispering Oliver Queen. Do you want to do it? Because I understand. Like it's like yes, you can love those movies. It's not that. I love a lot of
Yeah.
I love Ben Affleck Daredevil. But it's just like it's the fact that like especially with Keaton Batman, like Keaton Batman was larger than life. Like that was like
Yeah.
Star Wars for a lot of 80s children. And so it's like we exist in the shadow of it, and you just sit there like ugh,
He
give me a
doesn't
break.
kill. Joker didn't kill Martha. Martha
Oh,
and
that's the worst one too.
Thomas
That's the
Wayne.
worst one.
That shit.
Yeah.
Like some of the way the gadgets are portrayed, but like the positive version of that is like if you ask somebody off the street who has seen a bunch of Marvel movies but has never picked up a comic book, and you say, "What is the nature of Wong's relationship to Doctor Strange?"
They'll be like,
He will.
that's his boss.
They'll be like, "That is one of his best friends
Wong is the boss.
who is
His
like a
mentor.
mentor and is
Yeah.
occasionally like his superior." And then you ask somebody
And
that
then they'll
has
talk
to,
about how Wong is like also like
Madison's.
Madison's best friend and
I
stuff like
honestly
Yeah.
that.
was
Like
just thinking that I have not watched She-Hulk yet, but I'm so excited for Madison with
Yeah.
2 wives, but not where you think they are.
like that
She's the
shit.
I know I have a new fave coming. It's like a fucking nuclear bomb.
so good.
It's gonna hit me.
But it's none of the it's none of the weird manservant shit. And I just love that is
No.
again, that is a concept, like I said, taken into a dark alley, bang,
Mhm.
like never again. All of what we said earlier, though, I will say again, tropes and rakes that are stepped upon and well-meaning pivots being made that don't necessarily work. I kind of fucking love Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One.
I thought she did
Like,
great.
She's great.
I mean,
She's
yeah.
great.
it's
She's great.
it's the
No, she has
Liam
one
Neeson
of
as
the
Ra's
She has
al
the
Ghul, like
otherworldliness
yes.
of somebody
Yes.
who is been. This is why I mentioned this during the audio commentary. This is why I love when she plays vampires, is because she has
Mhm.
this like otherworldly knowledge to her, like
They
her
feel old, like behind the
aura.
eyes.
Like
yeah,
everything about her feels so knowledgeable. Like I would trust her implicitly if I met her.
Yes.
Like she could be like,
Yeah.
"Don't worry, jump off the bridge. It's gonna be okay." I
I
mean,
believe it.
it's probably gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But she has
it's
one of the best scenes in the MCU in this film. Great scene in Endgame as well. But like she's great in this. I think like it is often said that the MCU's true greatest strength is its casting, and I think that is very much true. This
Sarah
is
Haley
an
Finn is a generational talent.
generation, absolutely generational. This is an impeccably cast film. Like it is
Yeah.
just really, really top to bottom good.
Rachel McAdams.
She never misses. Chiwetel Ejiofor never misses.
So
Mads obviously never misses. And
Obviously.
yes, you can make the argument of like, oh, it would have been nice to see Mads in a meteor role. That's fine. I don't care. Like he's good at it. Like we need someone to play villain one, in these
Yeah.
stories.
If that, but like what you just said, and we mentioned that in the audio commentary, but like if that is your biggest complaint about a performance in a movie,
It's too
where it's
good to
like,
go.
damn, they're so good. I wish they
Yeah.
could have played somebody arguably more important than just
Yes.
Caecilius. Like that is a testament. Like Benjamin Bratt has 2 scenes in this movie, and
Yeah.
one of them is after the fucking credits.
Yes. Yeah.
That's buck wild. Like,
can I say
almost
something
has
real quick?
Please.
Before I forget. When you said Caecilius, it unlocked a memory. One thing also about 2016 is that one of my friends named Eric, he would always call Caecilius Isosceles because he couldn't remember his name. And so one day he was like, "What's his name? Fucking Isosceles."
Isosceles.
And so I've always called him Isosceles in the back of my head, and I just remembered that. Good memory.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yes, but you're right. No,
But-
it's 100%. It's
yeah,
like
and
he's putting too much sauce on a bland character, maybe.
Yeah,
but like, is that a problem?
Mr. Doctor.
No.
It's
Mr. Doctor's great. That's great. The
So
battle with the Ancient One, the presence, all the way that all the sorcerer actors act, Chiwetel especially, of like how Mordo just has like so much fucking seething anger under everything he does, even when he's being really nice, even when he's like, "That's the Wi-Fi password." Like, he does feel like something's not right about him the entire film.
I'm like, the thing that I'm the most disappointed in is that we get allusions to where he came from, but we don't know where. We get allusions to how he was raised, but not any details. And we get that we pretty much know that he's from like some war-torn country.
I'm waiting for the showdown of them.
Yeah.
That is one of the few, like, they haven't followed up on this that I think is valid, because Multiverse of Madness gives you Mordo, but it's not our Mordo. So the story is left angling.
It's not our Mordo, and it's and he doesn't even have the same motivations.
Yeah.
No, he's a completely different guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's him going,
because his motivations here is basically just no more mutants, only
no more sorcerers.
His whole thing here is like natural order, and which I love. I mean, I don't know where you want to go with this, Jarod. It's your show. You say where you're going to go, because we spent all this time already just talking about origins and.
No, you're good. Finish your thought.
Well, I was gonna introduce. Can I talk about Steven's characterization in this movie?
Please, yeah.
As it relates to also where we were and everything, just going into the film. My concern in 2016, or throughout the lead up to this, but when it was coming out, and I had faith because I made so many hits up to that point. So many characters.
They made Guardians work.
They had already made Guardians work. They if you can do Rocket, if you could do Groot, if you could do the Vision, if you could do
you can
Wanda
bring a
and Pietro and
life,
Vision at the same time, and then like there was like enough characters, like they were balancing all these arcs, the Winter Soldier arc, the Vision, the Stones, like I had faith in this brand already, so I wasn't too worried, but I was kind of like concerned that, and I think even the best writers could fall into this pitfall, that if written not incorrectly, but if just written without care, too close together, Strange and Stark are
I
very
knew
similar.
exactly where you were going with that.
They're very similar. Now, I will say they get to a great place, but that's the risk. Is that if you don't understand what makes them different, then you can fuck up. And thankfully they do. And the difference, particularly with these versions, is that Tony they both go through humblings. Tony's is about a change in values and a change in like personal ethics about how he's going to go about things. Steven is a control freak in a way that Tony is not. Tony is extremely passionate, and they're both geniuses in their fields, but Tony is content to let Pepper run the day-to-day of not just his life, but the entire company. That's not really his style. Steven needs to be behind the knife, a problem that bleeds into the next film. But like that is his whole thing, is that it can only be me, this, that, the other thing. And Tony has that maybe about his own projects, but they both have different types of narcissism that I think the films thankfully, came down on, where it's like Tony's arc is not about, like, Steven's arc comes down to the beautiful scene of it's not about you. Tony's arc is very firmly still about me. It's just how do I want to contribute to the world, not in death, in protection is his arc. But Steven's is, you're a healer no matter what. You're a healer as a doctor, you're a healer as a wizard. But do you do it for healing's sake, or do you do it to stroke Stephen Strange's ego? And because you can't not be the guy. You ruin your relationships, you hurt people, you risk, frankly, lives. Like he kind of does that in the scene where he's like, I can and I will. It's just like, Jesus, like there's literally a bullet in this person.
Yeah.
While playing
and
Trivial
he's just
Pursuit.
like, Yeah. So like they orbit the same themes, and that's why when they finally clash, it's so awesome. But there's enough personal difference there that when I was watching this movie the first time, I remember being like, okay, they got
Thank
it.
God
Like
it's
this
not.
is not the same
I
thing.
It's
remember
not
Yeah.
thinking
just
that
Tony Stark
too.
again.
And what I really
Yeah.
do love is that, like, I think Tony in many ways is still a control freak, but it's like
Yeah.
his is on such a like, even though ironically Stephen Strange's abilities and his influence on the world around him is
Mhm.
inherently much larger because of the scope of what he can do.
Yeah.
His narcissism and his control, his desire for control, is a way more myopic
Yes.
than
Yeah.
Tony's. Like Tony is
Yeah.
like you said, like Pepper, you can run the company, you
Yeah.
do
The
this.
details of how it operates is not really.
Yeah.
I'm focused on protect the world. I'm focused on
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony
Meanwhile,
thing.
Tony Stark is
Like,
suit of
yeah.
armor around the world,
Yeah.
and Stephen Strange is up his own ass.
Steven
And
is
we see,
like, I want to do this way. You can't tell me what to do. Steven has more of a like workplace contrarianism thing to him where it's like
yeah,
Tony would just like if he clashed with you in the workplace, he would just do whatever he was gonna do anyway, which is what Downey says about acting. But like he's just gonna do what he's gonna do, or he's gonna hop in the car and ride away. He's gonna go make a drink. Like Steven has the like well, fuck you. How dare you? Like, even in No Way Home, when he's like matured a lot, he
yeah,
still like cannot deal with Wong telling him not to do this.
Yeah.
Explicitly, do not do this. He's still kind of like,
Oh,
I'll do
fuck
it
you. I'm
anyway.
gonna do it
Like,
anyway.
yeah.
I
yeah,
know what
like
I got. Well, and yeah, the
he's such a I know better in a way that like I don't even think that because at least Tony, once he clocks you as like someone that he enjoys, like Banner, he opens up and he wants to learn. Steven couldn't even do that with a woman he loved.
mm,
He couldn't even. I mean, they joke about it too, about like that method that they both came up with, the Strange
yeah.
Palmer, or
yeah.
it's going to be the
Palmer
Palmer
Strange.
Strange.
Yeah,
Yeah, Palmer Strange. And so you get the idea that like maybe they've had those moments, but the fact that like they can't even come together on it at this point, like Tony's not like that. And you don't get the idea that Steven's not a whore. Steven is actually lonely in a different way.
yeah,
He doesn't even try to really fill it. He fills it with like watches and like
Yep.
really like cleanly, empty, sterile. His living quarters feels like a fancy sort of doctor's. He has the same
Mhm.
mentality about it. Where like Tony wants
yeah.
AC/DC playing and a revolving door of women and booze, and depending on where you catch him in his life. But yeah, very, very different. But I love everything they do with his character. I think it's a great arc. I don't want to spoil anything that I will discuss in Multiverse of Madness discussions because they go so there's such it's really one arc I feel, but like this of it's not about you as the thesis is so smart. My side note was about the music trivia thing,
Please.
and it's because I actually don't like for the same reasons where I'm so glad that we didn't do Tony again. I don't like that they made music his thing right after we had Peter Quill. I
Uh,
should specify Quill, because it was literally just then that like all of popular culture was taken over by the fact that this Marvel Heroes thing was actual American popular music, and then on a filmmaking level, Suicide Squad tries to ape that, gets fucked and embarrassed, and then that's a different story.
Tries to
But
ape that, gets fucked and embarrassed is a great
embarrassed.
thing.
It's embarrassed. And then this film tries to like not do it as aggressively because it's not doing like needle drops, but it really tries to make music the humor as not just at Steven's lows, like when he's an asshole, but also in bonding with Wong of like Beyonce. Like the Beyonce joke is the MCU joke that does not work for me. That's the one where I'm like, you cut this joke out of the movie, and I would not. I would actually be glad that it's gone. Like I don't think but that being said, I like what it illustrates about him. I just maybe would have made it movie trivia or general trivia or if it's gonna be music, it should have been classics. Like it's like
Yeah, I
Beethoven
get
or
that.
Bach or Mahler. Like it just feels like, especially because he's pulling out a 70s track
yeah.
that I almost feel like could have been jazz, could have been anything. He should have been doing trivia about the idea of him being a pompous show off the asshole makes sense. Um, I just feel like, yeah, it's just I don't
Get more pompous, show offy asshole music to go with it.
If it was honestly, it should have been classic films, and then he could have been like giving Wong DVDs or something like later on in the movie of
Which
things
also
like
would have been
that.
cute and cool.
Yeah, I like what again. I like him being a trivia asshole. It's just that it's that.
Yeah.
Alden's favorite superhero being a trivia asshole. Who'd thunk it?
Oh, but you know what? Can I set the record straight on that? Actually,
Sure.
people might think that because I came on for I gave Jarod a very vague like I'll do what I can as he goes through this whole series, but we ended up being able to connect on Strange. Great. People might think like, oh, is that my favorite? He's not. He just is probably my favorite in these films.
Right.
Like,
I should clarify that because I do know that. Yeah.
No, I know you're because like my favorite in the comics is Thor for Marvel, but I still haven't gotten my ideal Thor yet. So I've become in the MCU a very Guardians Strange oriented person, and this movie is a huge part of it. Where it's like I read now in a Kevin Conroy Batman type way. I read this Strange when I hear him.
No, and I get that completely. I think he really did redefine the character in a lot of ways. And yeah, I know you love these two movies. I know, again, like down the road, I know all three of us felt like we were taking crazy pills when Multiverse of Madness came out, and people were shitting on that movie, and like literally the three of us who have like all felt like we saw a different movie.
Silence. A Multiverse of Madness enjoyer is speaking.
We will be the Illuminati when we get to that episode. It is us.
Well, I sure hope that's not a.
Well, in theory. But I do want to real quick, Taylor. I feel like you were gearing up to say something that Alden and I kind of went on a tear there for a second.
No, I don't remember.
Okay, I apologize. I do want to talk about some of the combat in this, which kind of links back a little bit to like the origin of it all. But I really do enjoy how like fun and flashy a lot of this is. Like, it's like I go back and forth on it because on one hand, like you get all the crazy psychedelic mirror dimension reality caving in on itself, time loop, everything's in reverse moments, and that shit is really cool. And I think it's so visually striking, and it fucking rules. But it's also kind of shocking how kind of boring a lot of the magical combat is outside of like the environmental manipulation. Like I forgot again because of how crazy Multiverse of Madness is, with how abstract the magic gets. The Doctor Strange Thanos 1v1, hell, even Strange in goddamn No Way Home is so crazy. I kind of forgot that most of the magic was like a light show fan blade from Mortal Kombat and the weird like dark mirror dimension swords. And then Strange doing his little like yin, like little like
his whippy
strings,
stringy things, and
well,
then
that goes back to what Alden the origin issue.
Yeah.
You can't go too.
You get
far.
like the wand of Watum. Like they give you some fan service in the name drops.
The staff of the Living Tribunal. Which I was like,
the staff of the Living Tribunal, and I was just like, that's a kendo stick, man. Like that's
a kendo stick.
Whenever Jarod was like, but he has that thing too, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure like 4 other people have that too. Like I'm
there's so many,
so much later.
That's that's probably my biggest criticism of MCU
specific relic like 100 times later. But like I like that they had this like he got the special boots.
The boots, I was about to say the boots are so good. My favorite are the boots.
My favorite is Cape. I love Cape.
Well, besides Cape, I think
Cape is
Steven kind of
in this movie.
The fact that was just sitting in New York and nobody in Kamar-Taj was trying to claim that shit that we know
of. That's the thing that's not how they work. The relics choose you. They
said that. Claim you. They were
so,
waiting for someone with drip.
They were, and like Jarod was like, well, the Eye of Agamemnon kind of chose him. I was like, no, he straight up picked that shit up.
It like, called to him.
That's theft. That was
theft.
For
no,
sure.
he stole that. He picked the book up and then he was like, I'm gonna borrow this. And then he didn't give it back, and then nobody asked for it back, and then he finally gave it back at the end, and then they were like, surprise, it's an Infinity Stone.
My biggest criticism of MCU Strange is probably a director issue, maybe a writer issue, is that people are not forcing Benedict Cumberbatch to yell the incantations.
I
He has
know,
not
man.
yelled any incantations. And and so help me God, they would have to fire me. I would be like, Benedict, you have to yell hoary hosts of Hogoth at least one time. I might not use it, but like there should be a take of him saying every fucking incantation.
I want
They're
a version
so
of
fun.
Infinity War where we hear Benedict Cumberbatch go, "The Crimson Bands of Sidorak," and like binds
Exactly.
Thanos' arm up.
Because
Like,
Doctor Strange's Doctor Strange's incantations are just yelling the names of things. He's kind of like a Pokemon in that way.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
That's
other
it's
also
it's
the
anime fight
like
announcement.
final move.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, no,
Oh,
all that. Yeah,
let
what you're
Doctor
saying about the
Strange say
combat,
Kamehameha. Anyway,
it is a little boring. But to tie it into the Star Wars of it all, I had said to you off air that we were going to talk about that too. It does tie in because it is sort of Padawan Strange. Yes, he's a grown ass man, but like it's the idea of he's sort of going on that mythic arc. He has all the essential things of a hero's journey. But what I really love about it is that it does come down to one, the theme we've already touched on of it's not about you. You have to look outward. It's about everything that
right?
binds us together. That's so very Star Wars. But it's also the fact that it comes down to a year before Last Jedi would do this in the grandest way, a non-violent intelligence solution, which at the time, not to make this like Snyder bashy, I really don't mean to, but like in the wake of
Do it.
Man of Steel, well, in the wake of Man of Steel in 2013, there was a lot of like, can't we see people save people,
Right.
like we did more in the early 2000s? That's such a strength
We need a whole chords
of
about it,
those
in
films.
fact.
Yeah, the whole
The
that was such
whole
a strength of a lot of
law.
those movies. So then Age of Ultron, to its credit, in its third act, makes a huge point, and the second act makes a huge point in the train sequence and in the ending to talk about saving people. Then BVS comes around and reignites the conversation. So we've been in this cultural thing about that, which has kind of reared its head again with the Batman and now Superman, both third acts that are fundamentally about saving as many people as you can and all that, and being the light and all that.
Right.
But this film also kind of contributed to that conversation by debuting a hero who, in the context of the story and for us when analyzing the literature of Doctor Strange, is that this is the only superhero who has taken the Hippocratic Oath
Yes.
of do no harm. This and he is mortified by what happens in the battle. It's self-defense, obviously. It's the most blatant self-defense, but he didn't
Now,
need to.
granted, as we said in the audio commentary, he kills the shit out of that guy.
Oh, he murders
He
the
kills
fuck
he,
out of
he
that guy.
fuck out of that guy.
absolutely
That
fries him,
dude
but probably didn't
is
realize that it would be fried.
fried.
Yeah, he would be fried
When
physically
you
in the
get
way that
fried
he
in the
was.
astral realm, you get fried in real life. Like
Well, because
Mhm.
Taylor
you
and
get,
I,
They didn't put that
after
on the fucking
they
page
didn't
one
put
of the books he was
No.
they
stealing.
didn't put that on page one. They always put them after the book, at the end of the book.
well, because Strange gets stabbed with like the mirror dimension fucking sword, and he's like staggering through the portal, and the cloak of levitation goes to beat the guy up who
Oh, I
stabbed him.
love the cloak.
And,
Cape.
and again, $5 patrons, you can hear the audio commentary of Taylor and I just cackling at how much the cloak of levitation is beating the shit out
Oh,
of
it
that guy.
beats the fuck out of that one
Like
Cape-
guy.
it's just slamming the
Cape
guy's
was like,
head into
either
the
you
ground.
will suffocate
Yeah.
or I will bash your skull in. There are
To
two
the
ways
point-
you're getting out of here.
To the point where I forgot about the astral fight. Because that's one of my favorite hits ever is the way the Caecilius goon just throws that crazy hook kick at Strange that flatlines him for a little bit. Just how plosive that kerpow, and he just goes slack. But as you were saying with the Hippocratic Oath thing, it was just like the cloak beating him up and then him just like frying his spirit we were both like, oh fuck, forgot about that. But you're right. No, the way he's mortified is so good because Taylor points out because Taylor goes, "Oh my god, that's the first time he's killed somebody." And I was like, "Yeah,"
and that's what I like
freaks
about
about it.
Yes, yeah, and like as these films have developed, not just MCU films but superhero films, comic book adaptations in general. Because I publicly and I still very very much a struggle with superhero as a genre label. But with these adaptations of all these stories, especially Marvel DC, we have as we've adapted more, we start to pull from the B and C and D benches of characters, and not all those people are combatants. Thor is a warrior. Steve Rogers is a soldier. Iron Man builds explicitly a weapon-based suit of armor. Like, these are combatants. Hawkeye, Black Widow. Then you start to get into the characters that are not combatants. Doctor Strange is not like Hellboy, where he's going to destroy and defeat and hunt and trap, and he's not a magical like warrior
Hunter.
type. He's not any of those things. He's not a hunter. He's not a bounty hunter. He's not an investigator. You know, he's a scholar. He's a mystic. He can defend himself. But ideally, this would all be diplomacy and study and teaching people.
Yeah.
If it was peacetime. So
if it comes to it, they'll
same with
light you up. Yeah, very Jedi.
yeah, and
you know.
I give the credit also to Ant-Man. Ant-Man is also
Yeah.
a non-combatant. He's a thief. And I love that third act is about being a thief. He does have to fight, but he doesn't beat him. He doesn't beat his ass. You know, so it's like I liked seeing this film come down to a guy who does make a non-violent choice, does heal and put a place back together, literally. But then also the selflessness of like, all I've done this entire movie is suffer. And so if I have to suffer forever, then I guess that's what it's gonna be. Is you know, I also love the poetry of like, only he knows that he did that. Like, he can tell people,
Yeah.
but like Christine will never know. He doesn't do it for glory.
Yeah.
You know, and that's exactly what Stephen had only ever done.
And it's also like, you know, you have this person who like Steven is never like truly tempted by the idea of eternal life, like in the way that Caecilius is.
Yeah.
But he is so enslaved to that to a vanity that is adjacent to eternal life. Like eternal life is only a hop, skip, and a jump away from heal my hands. Like I don't think there's that much daylight between them. So to take somebody who is so obsessed with control over the world immediately around him, to have that guy go, oh, I could die a bajillion times. Fuck it.
Yeah. And the narrative, you know, like you said, like he's not tempted by the dark side, as it were, you know, to keep that Star Wars metaphor going. He's not tempted by it literally, but he is in his fundamental character flaw. One of the ways in which he acts out is like, you get to see his medical case like selection process, where it's like he is looking for the cases that will ensure that his name is etched further in history, in the annals of medical greatness. Like, he's constantly thinking about how will a thing be received. He can't solve something too simple, but he also can't take on something literally impossible, because
that's why he wouldn't take on Benjamin Bratt.
He wouldn't take on Benjamin Bratt, and that is also a thing about humbling himself in a very Jedi, very George, you know, mysticism way of like, even just literally the way he approaches work of like, I want to be challenged, but I can't do the impossible. That is straight up Dagobah. And like in this movie, he has to do the impossible. Like Steven, the night of his accident, that it was literally while he was passing up on people's lives because they either he couldn't be saved and he couldn't get his glory, or he wasn't willing to at least try and fail. Cut to that awesome scene of like, you have to learn to get off of fucking Mount Everest or you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're gonna do it because it just needs to be done. That is so the X-Wing of that is why you fail, because you don't fucking believe it. And to then have a man who only has one hand is just the icing on that scene. It's such a good little reveal.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you know, it might be a little old hat. It might be like, you know, baby's first media analysis take from me here for a second. But like, I really do love, like, again, Caecilius is kind of one note, and you know, Mads Mikkelsen gives him some swagger, but like, there's not a lot going on there. But like, this is one of those instances of like, I really do just love when the villain is like a mirror reflection of like, this is kind of the worst fucking parts of you. Like, you just an obstinate, egotistical, I know better, I want all the information in the world, but refuse to be held responsible for it at all. Easy answers, piece of shit. Like, it's and again, like I know that's like I know it's old hat, but like it really does feel poignant here, and I really do buy, even though Caecilius and Stephen Strange do not share that much screen time. You know, they have the Mr. Doctor, we have him, you know, pitching him on, you know, turning to the Dormammu side, you know, like we have those beats, but like in the grand scheme of things, like it
Also,
is,
they're all wildly unsuccessful.
yeah, yeah, because like Stephen, like, no, fuck you, and it's like
No,
there's
fuck
an arrogance to it.
you.
There's an arrogance to the way that it's like a no, fuck you. Where by the end, I do think Stephen has a more principled, no, actually, I'm good. It's like it
Yeah.
goes beyond a fuck you. It's like, no, like I think your
And that
worldview
comes
is
down
dog shit.
to that change comes down to the meaning stuff, right? Like that's
Right.
the heavy scene from, you know, the first half of the film. I guess it would be halfway through Act 2 of when Christine says, you know, there are other things that can give your life meaning, and he's like, "What, like you?" And like he goes full Smaug Benedict for a second, where he like
Yeah,
spits the words out. Oh, but like you.
Taylor
You
and
are
I both were taken
so.
aback.
What does he say to her? Where he's like, "You are so noble," or like what? It's so shitty. Benedict
You
is one
want
of
to
my
save
favorite flavors.
everyone. You just want to
Yeah, you
save them
save
all.
everyone. Poor Stephen Strange.
I was
He's
like,
so good in that scene.
damn. Part of me was like, first of all, how dare you talk to Rachel McAdams that way? And then
Crazy.
second of
Yeah,
all,
crazy.
I was like, Rachel, if you went over and punched him right now, I would support it, girl. Do it.
Yeah,
Knock him out.
and that connecting to the end of like why he's able to come to that place of like that more principled, peaceful place and become, you know, someone that you could buy could
Also, and
lead
when he
this
sees her again, to
eventually.
immediately apologize.
Immediately apologize.
Yeah.
Is it that because when by
And
accepting
had been
when he
trying to
accepts,
apologize for months because we see that he
Yes.
keeps sending her emails.
yes,
Well, yeah, but also him
by
being, yeah.
by you know resisting not just Caecilius but doing what he does with Dormammu, he's effectively saying that like if keeping this at bay is all I get to do, that is a meaningful life. Like that is meaningful. Like that does matter. Um Again, even if the whole universe never knows, that does matter. You know, what gives your life meaning right now? This. This is all I can do. This is all I can fix. It's all I can change. Like we can't save Caecilius like maybe a doctor would want, but I can keep this at bay. This is harm reduction right now. There's no cure for Dormammu, but you know, and it's the same reason, you know, punting it to way later. Why I love the third act of Fantastic Four. It's very similar. Of like we're these are not warriors. They're scientists. This is about harm reduction, and I think that yeah, it does. It's a really emotional place to put someone like him in, especially with what you get. And this is the benefit of just knowing the character and us knowing the sequels and us just being a retrospective, is that you also know that Steven's fundamental trauma is losing his little sister.
Yeah.
That you find out in the second act of 2 when he meets,
which I didn't realize was a shot completed scene for this.
Yes, yeah, which was already.
I think I knew that at some point, but I forgot that there was a
Yeah.
deleted scene of like the drowning.
Yeah,
Or at least about
so
the
it's
drowning.
like Steven's whole thing has always been like knowing that it sits in the back of your mind for the character. It colors his relationship with like what is an impossible fix, what is worth trying, what's not worth trying. And yeah, I think it comes through in some really great ways here. And Benedict, you know, but he's just the best. He owns it. This is also, we haven't mentioned this, MCU has done a lot of great adaptations of costumes. This is one of the best comic book costumes that's ever been put
Every
to screen.
single Doctor Strange
it's been
fucking
so
ridiculously good.
It's been so the changes have been so minor from appearance to appearance because it's like it's already fucking perfect. Only other Stranges entirely have had fully different looks, and they've all been great too. But like this one is just like
the credit scene.
Taika put the gloves on. Yeah, Taika put the gloves on, which I liked. I like the gloves.
I hate that he doesn't have the gloves on all the time. My favorite Doctor Strange look in the MCU, maybe hot take, is Defender Strange.
Defender Strange
because I
goes
love
hard.
that outfit in the comics. I love that fucking outfit in the comics. I love the goddamn ponytail.
Defender Strange does go hard, yeah.
But I wish he had the gloves on all the time. That is the only way to make this costume better. Truly, the
It's
only
so
way to
perfect.
make this costume better is to just give him the yellow gloves. Give him like if you need the MCU lines, give it fucking like have it be embroidered or something. I don't fucking care, but put him in some gloves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my life is yours, Kevin Feige.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I was like itching, dying to say. I had like, well, on the subject too of like this being another character who brushed with death, you know, obviously it ties to Tony, ties to Banner. A lot of characters have had that. You know, there's the characters where it's like, did your origin involve your death? Or almost death? Did it involve someone else's? Or was it just a thing that happened, like with Peter? But
Or was
like
it
this
near
in that
death?
category of like brushing with death and then having to find your new purpose is very obviously classic and mythic. But it got me thinking about I was rereading the other day, spoilers for comics of the last 5 years, I guess, if anybody's watching and you're catching up on comic books. Alfred has been dead for like 5 years in Batman
Yeah,
comics. And Alfred, I was rereading his death,
it's
and there's a
Bane, right?
beautiful, yeah, Bane
Bane
kills him.
kills him. Yeah,
It's so sad. And there's a beautiful, like you're reading a letter that Alfred left for Bruce while you're seeing the scene of Bruce finding the body, and it ties back to like 70 issues earlier. Bruce was falling out of the sky and they thought he was going to die, and Alfred's like over the comms, and Bruce is like, you know, tell me, Alfred, is this a good death? And he's like, you know, yes, Master Wayne, this would be a good death or whatever. And he's saying all the things you need to say. Then in the letter that he leaves to him, he's like, you know, long ago I told you that that things would be a good death because I thought I was going to lose you, but since I didn't lose you, I can tell you the truth now, which is that there are no good deaths, Master Bruce. He goes, but there are good lives. He's like, and you're living one. And I'm sitting there like, you know,
Yeah.
reading. But like I think about that with Doctor Strange, where it's like he's on borrowed time now in the same way that Tony is. And I think what they do share is that idea of like everything now has to be bigger picture. It doesn't mean you make the right choices, but
You just have to
he,
make the best choices you
yeah, the
can.
best choice that you can in the moment. And he has to approach life like a doctor does, like his actual profession is. It's unclear whether or not he's still a practicing physician in the MCU, and I think it's funny that it's unclear. Like
I
he
think
doesn't
he's a
ever
semi-practicing
formally, like he
profession.
might still be licensed and just not employed, I guess would be the
yeah.
He's definitely
you
not
know,
employed. There's no
he's
In the
way he's
same
definitely not
way, Steve
employed.
Rogers does not hold military rank.
And
Captain
never did
Rogers.
though. That's the thing about him in the
Yeah,
MCU. He never did. That's what's so funny about it. But yeah, so it's I think that this film leaves him in such a great place. I'll tease a little bit of the thought that I have for Multiverse of Madness. I love that this one is it's not about you, but the watch face is still broken, and that's a reminder of what you've been through up till here. The
yeah,
second one is you already know it's not about you, but that still doesn't mean you need to try to fix everything. But then right at the end, there's that glimmer of like, but you can fix some things. Like give yourself a new watch face, fresh
yeah.
start with your new perspective. Like it's a really elegant, like soft masculinity for Steven's arc. Like he
Yes.
doesn't get to he doesn't get to smooch the girl.
No.
He doesn't like kick back with his friends. He doesn't like he has Wong, but like
Yes,
it's
Yeah.
very
Wong.
solemn at the end. Like you know that his life belongs to a greater cause at the end. Um, which is not always the case for other
There is no
people. Like he's
friends. There
not,
are no. Yeah, he's not surrounded by people
yeah. They've
congratulating him
humanized
or
him
thanking
as
him.
you go, you know, like getting ice cream and stuff that they talk about in Infinity War. Like he's still a guy, but
Yeah, but no,
he's
it's
you
more
know,
important.
part of the
Yeah,
point of Multiverse of Madness is that he doesn't get to be with her at all,
at all.
ever. That we know
In
of.
any
We've yet to see
universe,
the world
in some
where it
cases.
works out. Yeah.
Well, what were you about to say, Taylor?
No, that was it.
I thought you were about to say something. I apologize. No, it was like what I love with like the broken watch face is like, it's very when I was doing research, and again, this is something I knew, but it reminded me, like how Dan Harmon did a couple passes at this script, but it was never
Mm,
credited.
mm,
And what I love is that, like, yeah, I can tell Dan Harmon took a pass at this because of the use of the phrase insignificant speck in an indifferent universe. And I love the way, because I will be honest, that's one of the reasons why I've always had a hard time getting into Rick and Morty,
mm,
because from the outside,
Yeah.
it has such a like fuck it nihilism to it that is an anathema to like how I can engage with that. I've watched
Yeah.
episodes of Rick and Morty with Taylor, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, these gags are funny.
Do you
But the
know what
core
you are?
philosophy of this show is at direct odds with my
Do you know what
worldview.
you know what you are? And I feel this because I also I'm like you. I've seen like select episodes, you know. But I feel about Rick and Morty what I feel about Smiling Friends that's on right now that people love. What I feel about a lot of things, which is you know that sort of like we get it, you're cool type sort of energy. But like about that fuck it nihilism, you reminded me of the tweet that's like, haha, very funny, wicked, and like ironic comment, bro. Now try saying something true and beautiful. Like that's
Yeah,
like that's how I sort of feel about it.
but
And you touched
but
on that feeling there where it's like, yeah, like this is yeah, it's very hard to access that. And it works for where Steven is in that point in his arc.
But like,
Yeah,
but
but
at the very end,
Yeah.
when he puts the watch on, like this is a guy who literally has a grasp on the concept of the universe itself may be indifferent. But then, like, I go to that Dimension 20. I go to that Brennan Lee Mulligan quote where it's like, people are the vehicle with which through which the universe cares. If you care, the universe cares. And like I love that like Steven arrives at that place where he's like, the cosmos and like reality is so fucking big and weird that
Mhm.
like there is no such thing as insignificance.
It's
I
kind of like it's you
How
get
many
what you
millions of
give.
times did he die in the dark dimension?
Yes.
Yet still Stephen Strange stands here in the Sanctum Sanctorum defiant. He made Dormammu his bitch.
Mhm.
Fuck an insignificant speck. Fuck an indifferent
It's
universe.
very much the angel philosophy when okay, let me catch you all up on Angel. For those of you
I'm
that don't know,
proud.
Angel's a
Hey, I just want to
vampire.
say real quick, 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 49 seconds before Alden or myself brought up Angel. That is a
You're
record
you're
for the
all
two of us.
you're all lucky that I brought it up. You should all be thankful. All right. I don't apologize for shit. You should all be thankful. Uh so he's if you don't know or if you don't care, he's a vampire, classic vampire rules, etc. etc. But he has a soul, so he's a good guy. There you go. He has a friend in the show who's a cop. Her name's Kate. Kate at one point is in serious danger. And Angel bursts into her apartment, a place he's never been, which therefore should not ontologically, cosmically, spiritually make sense at all. That should not be possible. And they never break that rule ever in Buffy, and they never break it after an Angel, just this once. And she points it out and says, I didn't invite you in. And the viewer is just left to sit with that. But they have this conversation where Angel, who's been on his little nihilism kick in this season, just being a prick to everybody, says finally comes to this point where he says, if nothing we do matters, then the only thing that matters is what we do. And that like if you really believe that, if you really think that like there's nothing, which there is something what he does kind of proves for the thesis of the show, but like even if there wasn't, then wouldn't you imbue the world with goodness by like then isn't it us? You
Yeah.
know, like it's just like if you're so this is something that somebody said to me recently. She was talking about how much she doesn't ever want to watch White Lotus ever. And she was saying that she's just sick of like this she's like, I'm sick of this fucking, you know, rich people cosplaying depravity and these like incest stories, and life is so fucked up and someone always has to die and everything is so tragic, and we all tune in every week to see what thing is going to happen. If you're so fucking black pilled, her words, if you're so fucking black pilled that nothing fucking matters, then why don't you just fuck off and stop making art so people that want to add beauty can get your Sunday night HBO slot. And
Mhm.
it's hard to not be compelled by that argument in the face of so much like who cares, man? Like that's why I'm glad that we're moving more toward the aggressive carers, people that care so much, people that care a lot to the point where it's kind of annoying, where it's like I will take a million fucking like Cynthia Erivo types before I take the Rick and Mortyification of like what we do.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to something I bitched to you about Jarod in text recently, where I was complaining about how, and I'm not saying that all minimalist theater does that it's all coming from a bad place, but why I rub up against minimalist theater as like being very in right now, where it's like, what if we took the songs and we made it now, and the stage was just a stage? And it's like, that's not why I'm here, man. I want to see poofy dresses. I want razzle dazzle. Like, this is not. I want big feelings, and I think Doctor Strange is a big feeling character.
Yes,
he's big. That's why the What If episode, just attack that on here as well. The What If episode is the best one because it's such a fucking sad, yearning, exploration. And I think he's a sad, yearning, mopey, depressed guy. He's not an easy sell. He's not cute like Ant-Man is in those ways, I think, and he's not sexy. Like, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is kind of sexy, but like Steven is not that in the way that Tony is. I think he's, but he feels a lot, and I think that it comes through very strongly in this movie.
Yeah, because he takes
all of what I said connected in some way. I will say
because he takes existing seriously, and like I read that thing about Dan Harmon, and I chuckled to myself because I was like, again, and like this is again, no shade to people who love Rick and Morty. Like I think the show is fucking funny. I think it's funny. I think a lot of it is very funny. But
I used to be so into Rick and Morty until like a bunch of dude bros really fucked it up for me. I was even there on the original Rick and Morty Rickmobile road trip.
But like, there's the
I was there.
But it almost feels like Harmon was brought on to be like, hey, say
Here's
something.
How you do depression more.
Say something like depressing and vapid about existence while you were gazing into infinity, so that Cargill and Derrickson and friends could go, okay, now how can we, in a single like 4-shot sequence, refute that?
Mm-hmm.
And it is Steven kind of longingly looking at the broken watch that represents that like time and nature is no longer what he thought it was, but represents a new meaning and lease on his life. There you fucking go, man.
It's great. And then to save fixing it for the next one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fixing the watch as a later stage career thing is allowing yourself to like put that to bed, because it's like they are one arc. Like it's kind of like the New Hope Empire of it all, where it's like you kind of do need both before further stories can be told, because it's like he has to put the Christine stuff to bed. He faces literally a dark version of himself he has the conversation about his sister. He has to do all those things still, but for this point, like, it does a really great job of not rushing. It gets him to the place where you're like, I could see him being Sorcerer Supreme, but like at the end, it's not about that. The sorcerers have taken a big hit. You get the idea that there are, 2 sanctums fell, or 1.5, because they kind of saved the other one. But it's in a not a good place, but he feels like fully realized as like an entry level hero. And now he's at such an interesting path where now it's like, gun to my head, he's the character that I'm most invested in to lead. Like, I know he's probably not going to, but more than Sam, more than Carol, certainly more than Thor, more than Clint. Like, this is like, he's such an anchor, not in the literal way, which I don't.
Anchor
being record, I don't think anchor beings are ever coming up again. Just so y'all know, I don't think that's ever coming up again.
Hey,
We've like that.
Oh, you don't? You don't? You're not one of those people.
Storyline for another.
I'm not one of who people.
Wait, hold on. What did you say, Taylor?
Gotta tie it up with a bow. Gotta tie those timelines up.
I see. No, that's what you say. I was just joking about the amount of people who think the concept of the anchor being is going to be crucial for Doomsday and Secret Wars.
There's already so much. The MCU time lore
makes sense. Fuck.
It makes sense for each story, but the stories don't go together.
No,
like, you just have to sort of accept that it's broken. It's Doctor Who-y in that way at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the people, and again, maybe I'm wrong, but I think the people who think the anchor being concept is like critical shit moving forward are, in the words of the great American poet Frank Ocean, crack rock. Anyway,
I thought you were gonna say in the words of Blade from Deadpool and Wolverine, but then
ice skating uphill.
we backed off of that one. Yeah, that's the line. That's the line I was gonna use. Retired.
Retire.
Fuck. Well, I think that's all we have for Doctor Strange, unless anybody else has any final thoughts.
Let me think. Giacchino's score, excellent.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Great themes came around during this film. I think it's great. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really feel. I mean, there's so much that I like about it. I think the training sequences are great. The first head trip sequence is great. It's a great show-offy moment. The tiny
so
hands.
hard.
Tiny hands is an
I hate
all-time
that shit.
moment.
Jared hates
That
tiny
shit.
hands.
I love tiny hands.
No, man, no, that shit makes me need to take a bath. No, it's funny you mentioned that because Taylor and I were laughing so hard during the audio commentary because fucking whenever the ancient one sits down with Steven and she does the thing Alden and I were laughing about earlier with the whole our incantations are called spells, but if our magic is too quaint for you, think of them as a program, and that our sorcery is the source code. And that whole bit, I was like, the ancient one could have so easily and plausibly explained magic to Steven here, but she said, "Nah, I got it." She's like, "I need to turn this white brain into soup. And I need to send it." It's the funniest shit ever. That she's like, I could just do glitzy, sparkly magic in front of him and go, "Look at this shit I can do. Do you believe now?" And she was like, "No, I'm going to show him some chakras, let him get pissy about it, and then just put my thumb between his eyes and go, baby hands."
And since, again, this film coming out when it did, it is, burdened by the time. I can't wait now for a hopeful 3 that can build on everything, because Multiverse of Madness takes so many great leaps with Wanda. Obviously, when Wanda goes full straight up the Grudge J horror when she's coming out of the fucking mirror and goes upside down and shit, they do all. I mean the pièce de résistance is the music note fight of Strange versus Strange, because that's straight out of fucking Fantasia with all the fucking notes and the chords and the music stats flying. It's amazing. So I'm excited to see. Probably a long time from now. I'm probably have to wait till after Secret Wars, but hopefully not. But I think that almost certainly, yeah. But a 3 that hopefully has Clea in it, but allows us to just do a full, because even then, what Werewolf by Night adds to the Magic Corner is so different from this that you almost wonder, give me a Doctor Strange movie that is
involves
black and
creature
white
features,
it's like creature feature. Give me a Doctor Strange movie with Phil Tippett creatures. Make one that's legit scary. That's the thing about, Del Toro has flirted with everything that everybody loves, but this is it's such a layup
movie would be a fucking
crazy. It'd be crazy in the same way that Del Toro Justice League Dark should be a thing, and Jabba the Hutt and everything else that he's almost done.
God, I forgot about the Jabba the Hutt thing. Del Toro, Doctor Strange, with a Phil Tippett Fing Fang Foom.
Yes.
$1 billion movie. But with all that said,
well, remember when they put a giant ass dragon in Shang-Chi and it wasn't Fing Fang Foom? What a cock tease that was.
That was my biggest complaint about that movie, is that dragon wasn't fucking Fin Fang Foom.
I remember being on Twitter, seeing the dragon in one of the TV spots, and being on Twitter with Kelly Knox, and we were both like, Fing Fang Foom? And then it wasn't. And I was like, what?
Confirmed.
I was like, who are you? Who is this Fing Fang Fugazi up here? Fugazi.
Fing Fang Fugazi!
It's a wussy. It's a woozy. It doesn't exist. It's not on the Elemental chart. I can't do McConaughey's whistle.
I see the only downside to the StreamYard brand thing that I have to have a separate one for Road to Doomsday is that I have not had a
Mm.
chance to import all of the clips. So everybody pretend I just played the future. Sensational. Um,
Now,
imagine it.
fuck that fake dragon. I'm glad he got his ass beat by Shang-Chi. Oh wait, no. He's Shang-Chi's friend. They beat the other thing's ass. The
Yeah.
giant thing.
Yeah,
The
I was
giant
gonna
dark
say.
thing. Never mind. You're cool, dragon, I guess.
You're cool,
You're a
Fang
nice
Fugazi.
dragon.
All right. Well, with all of that said, I think that brings us to the end of the show tonight. So, Alden, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at that Alden Diaz, ThatAldenDiaz. You can find me on Anytime with Ken and Alden, Fridays, 11 Pacific to Eastern, and on Casterly Talk, which is we're doing some infrequent lives right now, but then January coming up, we have a Night of the Seven Kingdoms, so the coverage on that will begin, and we'll have two Westeros HBO shows next year, so it's going to be some action in the January, February time, and then we'll find some stuff to do, and then we'll also have summer coming up on there, and then Star Wars stuff is all TBD, but I'm working on something. Don't worry. Trust me, you don't want me talking about Star Wars every week right now. It would be very mean spirited at people, not at Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but yeah, shout out Mando and Grogu. Not for any particular reason. I didn't help make the movie, but I just think people are being way too fucking whiny about it. So we ride.
Taylor and I took my little sister to see Five Nights at Freddy's 2
Why?
this past weekend. What?
I said why?
'Cause she loves those. She loves Five Nights at Freddy's.
No,
At the
whatever. She's a
exact
child.
time I
Wow.
was fully on my way out, she
Mhm.
got super into it, and she gave me an excuse to like still know things about it.
Mm.
Um,
I got a headache when they were like telling me stuff about it. I was like,
we were trying to explain the deep lore to Taylor, and it was like
dude, my
There
The-
shouldn't be deep lore to Five Nights at Freddy's, but go
there
on.
is it is
I
all
thought the
deep lore.
same thing.
It is all deep lore. But when we were at the theater, they just renovated the theater we typically go to, and it's fucking breathtakingly beautiful. But they had a gigantic Mando and Grogu standee by
Yeah.
the concession stand, and like we hadn't been there since like the beginning of last month to go see the Back to the Future re-release.
Mm.
So like they were like finishing up the renovations, but I saw it and I was like, oh my god, like it was one of those moments of like, even though I'm so clued in to like entertainment news and like Star Wars especially, um seeing something like that in the wild is like, oh my god, like
Mm.
because I feel like, you know, and this is the Star Wars show, but like it feels like it has been so cloak and dagger with like what the fuck is going on the movie front, that
Mhm.
seeing a standee for a film coming out next year in the flesh, that felt like low-key surreal. But
Mhm.
go check out all the things for Alden, especially Anytime. That is my favorite talk show. I haven't had a chance to watch it a little bit, which pisses me off just with when
But we were also
my,
off for a few weeks, so it
I know,
works
but
out.
I missed but we were taking my little sister to see Five Nights at Freddy's while the WB Netflix episode was streaming. I haven't
Oh,
had a chance
that
to sit
we
through
had
that.
some technical issues during that episode. We had technical issues during that episode, and I got very mean spirited on air. So probably best that everybody skip that one.
Oh, so that
I
means
didn't
I
get mean
have to
spirited
watch
at
it.
10, certainly not.
Obviously,
But I got
obviously.
really I went on a tirade where I was basically like, if you're in this chat and you're using AI, you're a fucking loser. And I just got really I just got really mean because I was very annoyed.
I mean, I was having that conversation on Pro and Noob with Mitch. He and I are having a couple connectivity issues with StreamYard, and I said the same thing you said. It was like StreamYard will add anything to this fucking software except increase its bandwidth. It'll be AI out the fucking ass. You know, I'm looking at a button right now that says generate background AI on my fucking monitor. But
Yep.
like the bandwidth, you know, like
Nope.
she and I are in the same building. You know, like if I could mute this microphone and yell loud enough to still be heard, like, but you know, we have connectivity issues and we're 20 feet away from each other. Anyway, go watch anytime. Also, you can catch all three of us on Luminous Odyssey on the All Remaining Systems YouTube channel, the High Republic RPG show we're all in. By the time this is out, there might be a new. The new episode will definitely be out by the time we're recording this. An episode after that might be out, and we'll find out how Taylor comports herself in a lightsaber duel by then.
We will find out if I'm still alive.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. But honey, where can the lovely people find you, my dear?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Quicksilver Girl GRRL. And Jarod.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram, or not Twitter, Blue Sky and Instagram at Dark Jedi 2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, wherever you get your podcasts, and on our website, thenerdacademypodcast.com. Subscribe to our Patreon. $5 patrons get early access to every single episode of The Road to Doomsday, as well as exclusive access to our audio commentary tracks. $10 patrons get all that and shout outs at the end of every episode. So thank you to both Paco and Ray Clausen. Your continued support means the world. Like I said, Luminous Odyssey as well. Pro and Noob on the Mitch692 channel, where I'm currently watching Attack on Titan and having a lot of feelings about Attack on Titan.
I heard a lot of people do.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do. What's your take on this one, Mr. Evangelion Lowborns?
I didn't say anything.
No. You made a face. You made a face. Don't Kenobi me. You made a face.
My face was my first genuine reaction was like gut instinct was fucking weeb. But then my second thought was just thinking about how it's just one of those things where it's like it was very of its time, right? And like I feel like every now and then an anime comes around and has to be the hotness.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. And My Hero was probably the next. And
Right.
Demon Slayer was probably the one after that, even though they kind of share an era. And I just don't take any of them seriously, quite frankly.
I love Japanese X-Men.
And part of that is also being an old head. Like part of that is also the you will never be DBZ, you will never be Inuyasha, you will never be Cyborg 009. So I know that that's part of it. You'll never be Sailor Moon. I know that that's part of it. But I just look at this stuff that comes out now, or even Attack on Titan was already like a decade old or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man.
See, you say that, but you also won't watch Neon Genesis Evangelion, which supremely pisses me off. Your stance on this makes me even more frustrated that you won't watch Evangelion.
I just I don't need to be a part of your little thing, you know.
Scotty loves it. Jerry loves it.
Okay, they
Noah
like Avatar.
loves it.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what they like.
The Avatar stray. Fuck.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a single fuck what they like.
Oh, we're watching Attack on Titan.
Noob.
I will be. Oh goddamn. But yeah, I think that. Oh yeah, and then Epic Confrontations. Like I said, this will be out for patrons long before, a couple weeks before the title match. But by the time this is out on the feed, it will have happened. So if you're not up to date, like I said,
I have to go get the dog.
Okay, go get the dog.
It's like 0 degrees outside.
Oh shit, I didn't realize that. The person on the bottom of the screen may or may not be champion still, so we'll see. Either way, it's going to be a hell of a show. It's going to be a hell of a show either way. But thank you all so very much for joining us. I have to consult the list because I forgot what comes up after this. I want to say Thor Ragnarok.
It's Guardians 2.
It's Guardians 2 up next?
I think it's Guardian. I think 2017 was Guardians 2, then Spider-Man, then Ragnarok.
You're right. You're right, because Ragnarok came out after I graduated high school. Yeah, so we got Guardians 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Ragnarok all up on deck, which I am very, very excited for. So we will see you guys. We go to talk Guardians of the Galaxy 2, a movie I have a lot of mixed opinions about. You know, we've braved the storm of movies Taylor doesn't like with Age of Ultron and Civil War. Now it's my turn to bear the cross of really, really not liking the first half of Guardians 2.
You're so stupid. How could you? How could you even have such a horrendous
It
take?
doesn't work for me, man. I think the first half of
What are you
Guardians 2 is
talking
messy and unfunny.
Oh, just end the episode. Just end it.
We'll see you on the next steps on the road to Doomsday.
Bye-bye.
I mean to play the intro. I'm an idiot.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!